from the Don and Lorena Meyer studio at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Nebraska Nightly.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Dawson Iasillo.
And I'm Sophie Farrell. A UNL student body president will be decided next week in a runoff election.
And that's our top story.
The ASUN student body election is going into a runoff. Based on ASUN's rules, campaigns must win at least half of the vote or by a 10% margin. Neither Catalyst nor Ascend reached that point. Students can vote in the runoff on April 8th and 9th for the two campaigns. Nebraska Nightly spoke with Ascend candidate Luke McDermott about the runoff and what his campaign stands for.
I think one big thing that the Catalyst campaign is trying to push for is that they're a fresh perspective and they're new to the game. I think we fundamentally disagree with that. I think the only difference is who's actually delivered results for students. You'll see if you got a New York Times game subscription after the election, that was because of a project that I was pushing. If you have a Grammarly subscription, that's because of a project I was pushing.
McDermott is currently serving as ASUN's external vice president. He believes that his involvement in ASUN and passion for students qualifies him for this role.
I'm a history major, so I have looked back and kind of seen what students have done in the past, and this is not only like my archival research, but also class. And you think about like Vietnam War protests, you think about giving student regents that spot in the first place. These are all things that students did, and it's really, looking back at that history has really instilled in me the belief that students have a lot of power. It's just about organizing and exercising that power, and I think that I have the vision and the direction to help bring students together and direct us towards that single mission, and that single mission for me next year is giving student regents the right to vote.
Nebraska Nightly reached out to Libby Wilkins with the Catalyst campaign, but has received no comment.
It's been a gloomy day here in Lincoln so far, but it looks like the sun may try to be peeking out today.
Here's Logan Schlotman with our peek at our upcoming forecast.
Yeah, taking a look at the quick weather for today, it has been quite gloomy. We have seen a lot of that rain consist through a lot of that morning, but as we'll be taking a look, it really has been that windy as we only have an easterly wind of around 3 miles per hour. Dew point is pretty similar to your current temperature, which is 49 degrees, but I'll be back with the full forecast right after the break.
The University of Nebraska-Lincoln Police Department has an update on the hate crime from the early hours of March 30th. A 21-year-old male from Norfolk, Nebraska has been charged with a third-degree assault and hate crime enhancement, classifying it as a Class 4 felony under Nebraska state law. The suspect has no affiliation with the university. The police department would like to thank the campus and community for the response to help identify the suspect.
In-office voting is underway for Lincoln primary election. Polls open next Tuesday, April 8th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voters will decide on 3 at-large seats on the City Council, a single seat on the Lincoln Airport Authority, and several seats on the Lincoln Public School Board. They will also vote on whether Lincoln should extend the quarter-cent sales tax, which funds street repairs and construction. Election Commission offices are extending hours through next month to answer questions. Lincoln's general election will take place May 6th. The last day to request a mail ballot is April 25th by 6 p.m. For more information, visit Lancaster's county website.
Sexual assault survivors are not alone. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the Center of Advocacy, Response, and Education at UNL is taking action. CARE has several events planned over the course of the month. One of their upcoming projects is their What Are You Wearing art exhibit.
Next week, we're getting ready to install our What Were You Wearing exhibit, which is a survivor art installation, essentially working to debunk the myth of that it matters what you were wearing. So they are stories and outfits recreated from stories that were submitted by students of what they were wearing during their experience of sexual violence. So it's a super powerful exhibit, definitely one that you want to practice self-care when you're visiting, but next week it will be on East Campus and the following week it will be on City Campus. We always like to say that prevention is every Husker's responsibility, so making sure that they are being an active bystander if there is a potential moment of harm that could essentially be intervened or called out. but we also like to say whatever makes sense for them to make sure that they are also safe, but really just learning more. So again, attending an event or workshop with CARE to learn how they can be more supportive or learn how they can be an active bystander.
Anyone who needs to speak with a CARE advocate can reach to them at 402-472-3553 to make an appointment. More information about CARE's contact information, events, and location can be found at their website, care.unl.edu.
Nebraska legislature connected directly with students and community members at I Love NU Day on Wednesday. The event is a part of I Love NU Week, a week-long celebration highlighting the cultural and economic impact of the University of Nebraska's school systems. One Lincoln senator encourages students to be honest with them and ask what they are doing to help the university.
But ask them the question, what are you doing to support the university, whether it be programs, whether it be funding, whether it be legislation that's supposed to support any of the campuses. It's not only our obligation to answer those questions, rather it's our responsibility.
The student regent for UNMC believes the senators recognize and appreciate the sincerity of student opinions.
We're not being paid by anybody. We're free agents. You know, we're not lobbyists. So I think our words hold a little more weight with the senators. I mean, we hear all the time, senators love to hear from students.
Coming up next on Nebraska Nightly, gas prices are increasing around the nation.
And President Trump announces tariffs on U.S. partners.
Stick with us.
Social media is a daily part of many college students' lives, something we've become used to, but it can also be overwhelming and draining. Studies show that taking regular breaks from social media reduces stress and improves mental health. Too much screen time has been proven to increase anxiety, while stepping away helps you reconnect with the world around you. Take a break. Protect your mental health.
The need for blood never stops. And at the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, your blood could help save lives. Right now, only 7% of the population donates blood. But imagine if there were more.
We're sitting at below a 7-day level of supply of all blood types across the board. So every blood type is important, and we need all donors of all types to come in and donate right now.
At the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, they believe that all types make a strong blood supply.
Welcome back. As you can see, we have quite the temperature gradient across the state of Nebraska. While over in the east part in Omaha and Lincoln, we have 51 and 49, but taking over into the west, we do see 34 in Scottsbluff and 32 over in Ellsworth. But let's take a look at the satellite imagery, because that's what really matters, what we've been seeing today. So we have a lot of that strong Gulf Coast moisture that's really bringing it up and bringing a lot of flooding over into Kentucky, Arkansas, and Missouri, and also some of our rain that we've seen up here in Nebraska. And let's take a look at the radar. As we see here, we really see a lot of those storms are really going to push up from that Gulf Coast, but we also do have a couple of storms here. Let's zoom into Nebraska. Those fast-paced moving storms that were taking over Lincoln and Omaha, but more in central Nebraska, we have a lot of those slow storms that are going to pass through, but even some snow is possible up in the Valentine area. While taking a look in the future, it's going to be quite the opposite of what we saw today. It is going to be quite a dry weekend. There should be no precipitation in the forecast, except for maybe a couple of showers can pass through the west, but nothing so far really large. As taking a look in the next 7 days for your rain and snow chances, it's going to be 0, 0, 0 all the way up to Monday, but our next time we're going to be seeing some chances of precipitation is mainly probably going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, but then we're going to be seeing those chances go back to 0 as around Thursday and Friday. So we're going to be quite in a quiet period as we see here for the next week. But taking a look at tomorrow, we'll be seeing that high as 52 degrees with a northerly wind of 15 to 21 miles per hour. It's going to be mostly sunny, but we can see gusts get all the way up to around 32 miles per hour. And you should be seeing that high probably hit at around 3 to 6 p.m. And those temperatures are going to warm up quite slowly. And taking a look at the week ahead, it looks very cookie cutter as we see mostly sunny all the way up into Tuesday, but those temperatures are going to increase slightly, and we can see very high temperatures for this season all the way up to Wednesday, where we get back into the 70s, and then our high of 75 on Thursday with mostly sunny conditions still back. That's all I have for the weather today. Back to you, Sophie.
Thank you so much, Logan. The U.S. job market did better than expected last month. On Friday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported 228,000 positions were added in March. Many economists expected job growth to be closer to 130,000. Analysts say things can soon change when recent federal layoffs are included and overall uncertainty could rise due to President Trump's tariffs. The unemployment rate did increase 1/10 of a point in March, rising to 4.2%.
Trump's tariffs went into full effect Tuesday in over 180 countries. The list includes a number of U.S. allies who expressed their disappointment to be included in these tariffs. Many critics of the tariffs say that this was the beginning of a worldwide trade war. Governor Jim Pillen commented regarding the tariffs. Pillen stated, "Our farmers and ranchers feed the world and produce the best. We lead on trade, and Nebraska is tired of being duped on takers around the world." President Trump is taking bold action to combat decades of cheating and unfair trade practices. We're working hard and through this period, and I will do my best to ensure that Nebraska's interests are heard during this time. Just to our south, Kansas, Governor Laura Kelly disagrees by saying that these tariffs will hurt the agriculture industry the most. Countries continue to respond to the U.S. with their tariffs of their own.
Gas prices are on the rise around the nation. In Lincoln alone, gas prices have risen 16 cents since the start of last month. Around the country, the average price of gasoline is up 17 cents since March. Prices are expected to continue to rise and reach a peak around mid-April. Petroleum expert Patrick DeHaan predicts. The White House released a statement saying that new tariffs put into place this week did not affect oil and gas imports.
Stocks are still in free fall today due to concerns over international trade. President Trump announced steep tariffs on many U.S. trade partners Wednesday. In response, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 4.8% the next day. Stocks lost a total of $3.1 trillion, the largest one-day drop since 2020. Today, China announced its own tariffs on U.S. goods, causing the Dow to dive even further, down an additional 5.5%. Technology stocks saw some of the greatest losses due to their reliance on foreign manufacturing. Investors remain concerned over the tariffs, fearing the possibility of a global trade war.
Coming up, an update on President Trump's law to ban TikTok.
And some professional advice on how to get in shape for summer.
Stick with us.
Many of the brands you love don't love animals like you do. Look at the labels of products you use for a bunny logo signifying they don't lab test on animals. Check the label for those who aren't able. Start making the shift by visiting crueltyfreekitty.com today.
Okay, so how about this much?
I don't know.
Well, how about this much?
I don't know.
How about...
Actually, I don't know.
Okay, maybe this much?
I don't know.
The very tip of your pencil, a fraction of a raindrop, 3 grains of salt. That's how much it takes for a dose of fentanyl to become lethal. Learn more at realdealonfentanyl.com.
Welcome back. President Donald Trump has delayed enforcement of a law that would ban TikTok. while his staff works on a deal to maintain access to the app in the United States. Friday, Trump announced the deadline has been extended for 75 days. In a social media post, the president said his administration is working hard on a deal to save TikTok. The news comes ahead of the April 5th deadline. Last year, former President Joe Biden signed a law that required the China-based parent company to sell the app or face a U.S. ban. The law was set to go into effect in January, but Trump delayed it. Friday's announcement came as the U.S. and China go head-to-head in an escalating trade war. Both sides have increased tariffs, but Trump said he might lower tariffs on Chinese imports if Beijing agreed to a TikTok deal.
Being healthy should be a lifelong goal, but as the weather gets warmer and vacations be looming, you may have found motivation to shed pounds put on during colder months. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to a sports medicine doctor about what to do now to get fit for summer.
You might be eyeing that swimsuit and the number on the scale. If you have a fitness goal to reach before summer, start now.
It's very reasonable to see weight loss in the first few weeks. However, in order to really put on muscle mass and develop muscle tone, that often develops over more of a longer time period, roughly 8 to 12 weeks.
Dr. Matthew Anastasi with Mayo Clinic says health should be a long-term goal, but if you've suddenly found motivation, set yourself up for success by eating a well-balanced diet, a combination of fruits and veggies and lean proteins, while avoiding processed foods and added sugars. Next, be physically active. 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week is recommended. And switch it up. Do cardio some days and strength and resistance training other days.
I think the biggest key is to not try to go from 0 to 60 right away. We often see a lot of soft tissue injuries the beginning part of the year because people start the year off with a New Year's resolution and they go from not being active at all and being rather sedentary to trying to run 5 miles per day.
To stay motivated, Anastasi says to build exercise into your schedule. He says getting good quality sleep is also key, allowing your body to recharge. And remember to stay hydrated. Avoiding alcohol can also help.
There can be a lot of unnecessary calories and sugar in alcohol. So when you're looking at trying to lose weight, those can be working against you.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The doctor says he often is asked the best diet for getting healthier. He recommends the Mediterranean diet, which is plant-based with healthy fats and a moderate amount of fish, poultry, eggs, and dairy. He says that diet in particular can help a person lead an active lifestyle while eating well, balanced meals.
Coming up next, a look at Husker basketball.
And baseball and softball take the field after the break.
Nebraska Nightly. On average, every Big Ten student wastes 112 pounds of garbage each year. But there's a fix. Make sure you use an Aussie when you dine in and be a part of the change.
Welcome back to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Trey Marlin. Nebraska basketball got their first marquee transfer of the 2025 portal window as Bryce Sanford has committed to the Huskers by way of Iowa. Sanford commits to the Huskers after playing in all 33 games for the Hawkeyes last season, averaging 8.8 points and shooting 40% from three-point range. He will have 2 seasons of eligibility remaining. Staying on the court, Nebraska basketball is still alive in the first annual college basketball crown as they face off with Boise State tomorrow in the semifinal round at 12:30 Central. With a win, they will play the winner of UCF versus Villanova in the championship game on Sunday. The winner of the crown receives $300,000. Memorial Stadium, where spring practice is in full swing for year 3 under Matt Rule. Many eyes are on a plethora of new weapons added to the offensive side of the ball, and a Dana Holgerson who finally says jokingly, finally knows the names of his players.
Those 4 games were valuable. If I would have just took over, started rolling in January, right now my head would be spinning.
We got to practice and evolve and keep getting better at it. So when we get in those positions, we're comfortable. It's not a, oh, here we go again. It's like, yeah, give me the ball. Let's go roll.
And Dylan, he wanted to throw the ball. He came in to throw the ball. And with us getting all these guys, Dane and Harley, me, Cortez, all the young guys coming in, we got some weapons out there to use. So it's going to be exciting to watch.
In volleyball news, it was announced earlier today that the Nebraska volleyball spring match will be televised on the Big Ten Network. With the change in TV plans, the match has been pushed to 7 p.m. Central. The Huskers will still face off with the Kansas Jayhawks in the Danny Busboom Kelly debut. And in spring sports, Nebraska softball visiting Iowa this weekend. Nebraska baseball at home versus Rutgers. That game at 6 o'clock tonight on Nebraska Public Media. Should be an exciting game. Baseball, they beat number 5 Oregon State last weekend. Should be exciting to see if they can carry that over this weekend, guys.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I love all the spring sports going on in Nebraska, and I'm really hoping for a good Nebraska win this weekend. How about you?
Looking for a Husker win tonight, hoping for the best.
Aren't we all?
Coming up, a preview of the Lincoln Repair Cafe. Stick with us on Nebraska Nightly.
Tonight on Nebraska Nightly.
Nearly 1 in 3 Husker students struggle with food insecurity. Husker Pantry addresses food insecurity and a welcoming space by providing free food and personal items to UNL students in need. Due to high demand, the pantry often runs out of essential items. Help keep the pantry stocked by donating the most needed items. From canned food to personal items and cleaning supplies, you can make a difference by donating. Learn how to donate by visiting pantry.unl.edu.
Welcome back to Nebraska Nightly. Missing 17-year-old Sophia Franklin was found at a truck stop near Omaha on April 2nd. She was reported missing February 2nd and is now 5 months pregnant, according to Beaver Dam Police Department.
Franklin's father, Stefan, says that Sophia was noticed with 2 men by a woman on a truck stop outside of Omaha after midnight on Wednesday.
It's not been confirmed, but she went and looked up Amber Alerts or missing children or something and saw her missing photo and recognized her and then called local authorities. It's a miracle.
One of the men taken into custody was 40-year-old Gary Day, who abducted Sophia in February. Sophia met Day online and started a relationship in April 2024.
That relationship is what motivated Stephen and his wife Leah to raise awareness about the potential dangers of social media.
When something breaks, it's often easier and more common to replace it than repair it.
But as Nebraska Nightly's Madeline Fox reports, a local effort in Lincoln is flipping the script.
For over a decade, the Lincoln Repair Cafe has been fixing items for the community. Amy Montgomery has been the host for the Repair Cafe for 10 years. She believes repairing instead of replacing will help future generations and help the planet.
I hope that the artistry of repairing things becomes something that the next generations are actually able to learn, really empowering themselves to make their own lives better through the smallest things, like fixing a fan.
The cafe has a group of volunteers that fix items once every month in the basement of the New Visions Community United Methodist Church. Eric Gebbers volunteers for the church and helps out at the cafe.
Things are a lot cheaper to get fixed, especially when these kind of pants I find in my size, they seem to be hard to find anymore. And unfortunately, I know a lot of manufacturers don't like to have things fixed, but it's better for the planet.
One volunteer is a self-taught seamstress who decided to help out the community after COVID. The volunteers are also willing to teach.
Oh, they just needed people who had some skills, and you know, there are certain things like hemming and stuff like that that's like there is a technique to it, but then other times a lot of other things are kind of just like problem solving. It's been a good learning and growth experience for me. Yeah.
If something can't be fixed at the cafe, they'll tell customers exactly what pieces they need in order to get the job done. The Repair Cafe starts at 1 p.m. in the basement of the New Visions United Methodist Church on the third Saturday of each month, and there is no charge. Madeline Fox, Nebraska Nightly.
For more information about the Repair Cafe, you can visit their Facebook page at Lincoln Repair Cafe.
The next event is currently scheduled for April 19th.
As we approach the weekend, we are hoping for warmer weather.
Here, one last look at the weather. Logan, what are we looking at?
Now, if you're a fan of mostly sunshine, but also raising temperatures, I think we've got the perfect weekend in store for you, as we'll be seeing those temperatures range from up to the 50s into the 60s. And it looks like the only outlier is really going to be Wednesday, where we're going to be seeing partly cloudy conditions. We also do have that 20% chance of rain, but by then the temperatures are going to be all the way back up into the mid 70s. So it should be quite a great weekend and even to next week.
Yeah, I know. I am super excited to see those high temperatures and the sunny and 70s. You know, you can't really ask for more in Nebraska at this time of the year.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for April showers to bring May flowers.
I think we saw our first round of that here, but maybe in the future we might see a couple more showers.
The back half of that week looked like a fantastic time to hit the golf course when we go Nebraska baseball or softball on the weekend. The sports guys always got to pitch that, but the back half 70s, mostly sunny. That's what caught my eye in that last ball for sure.
Yeah, it'll be definitely a great time to enjoy some outside the Husker sports, maybe go on a walk down the Haymarket, hoping that we don't switch the forecast and see rain next weekend.
I'll try my best, but it should be a great weekend. Even stay outside and go on some walks.
I'm looking forward to that. There's nothing better to do at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Nebraska Nightly.
You can follow us on socials at Nebraska Nightly.
Be sure to tune in on Monday at 4:30 for our sports update show, and then on Tuesday for our live newscast at 4:45.
Have a great weekend.
Nebraska Lincoln's College of Journalism and Mass Communication.
That's okay. That's all right.